Welcome to a Trucker's Mind podcast. I'm Eddie McGee.
It's your boy K Things.
We're back, man. Episode 184.
Yes, sir.
All right, man. It's a little different today because we decided to rock it out a little earlier this week. Basically, because Keith is going to be gone Saturday and Sunday, and we record on Sunday. And since he's not going to be here, we just like, fuck it. So we did it Wednesday morning.
Yeah.
So if you guys are wondering why we didn't miss some big event or, something crazy happens and we don't cover it, it's because we recorded on a Wednesday morning.
Yeah.
So heads up on that.
Got to get the content out, though.
Yeah, man. But, you can't make excuses not to put out content. You got to make sure that you're consistent, that you grow the trust of the listener or the audience. Because, it's like, if you really love something or believe in something, you got to be willing to not only do the work, but the people who listen to you, do it for them too, man.
Yeah,
that's important, man. Like for a lot of things, I don't want to go too deep, but you got to be like willing to, for lack of better words, you got to be willing to die behind it. Mm-hmm. There was a story that I seen from a firefighter on 9/11, and he missed the fire truck. The fire truck took off without him. So he put on all of his he put all of his uniform on. He had the suit, tanks, all this heavy ass shit that he had. He put it on and he ran 5 miles to the World Trade Center and he died in that building.
Oh my gosh.
So it's like you have to have that level of, not only investment, but he was willing to die for the city of New York and die defending and helping people.
Yeah.
Right? I'm not trying to conflate a podcast with this story on 9/11, but I think
It's
your purpose. His purpose was to go and save someone's life. And this guy, to this day, they have a foundation. I feel like a piece of shit for not remembering his name. But this guy put on a full suit and ran 5 miles.
That's wild, man.
And he ran through a tunnel, and every year they have a tribute to him where they run through the tunnel and they run 5 miles to the World Trade Center.
Dang.
Yeah, man. So I was thinking about that. I'm just like, yo, you think about the level of commitment that he had to the city of New York and the people and to what he believed in, that he was willing to die behind it. Mm-hmm. And you have to have that same approach in whatever it is you want to do. Now, this is just content creation, but at the same time, having that level of tenacity to do something is the same type of energy you should put into pretty much anything that you really believe in. So
yeah, obviously we don't have a life or death situation, but
right.
Even for us, like you got off of work pretty late last night.
Yeah,
I had to do the video for the podcast last night to export it so I can upload it to YouTube to get it out today.
Right,
and I was up pretty late, so it's just like, and I woke up this morning to work out and stuff. So it's just like you have to almost be willing to do, or willing to pursue your dream under any sort of circumstances. So
you got to do it. You just the thing about the people here, and I'm not trying to compare us to anyone else, but I just don't know of anyone of our peers or just people out in the world on average that outwork me and Keith. We're going to show up every week for a podcast. Mm-hmm. Every week. If we don't show up, something's wrong.
Yeah. Even through COVID,
the whole COVID shit. You know how many podcasts just stopped making podcasts, or they went straight online where they did like the Skype shit. Mm-hmm. And the Skype shit kind of took away the vibe because people they were doing it via Skype, and the conversations were really kind of terrible.
Yeah, I think there was only a couple that they semi worked out.
Right.
But that would take like years and years of chemistry.
Yes.
And also only maybe a couple of guests. When it starts to get into like 4 and 5 people on a podcast, then it starts to break down because on Zoom it just doesn't work. You can't really feel that rhythm of the people in the room.
Right.
So.
Shout out to Brilliant Idiots podcast. They did a great job with it, but they have been together already like 4 or 5 years. Mm-hmm. So when you've built that cohesiveness amongst two people having these conversations, then you guys could go. If me and Keith had to do a Skype, I've known Keith over 20 years, so we could pull it off. I know when he's going to talk, if he's going to elaborate, if he has if he has an idea, he's going to let me ramble for a while until I stop. Like we know how that goes, but that's neither here nor there. All right, let's get right into it, man. The producer Zaytoven. I don't know how many people are familiar with Zaytoven, but Zaytoven is a hip hop producer. He's made a lot of really, really cool beats. He's done a lot of work with Future and
Gucci Mane.
A
lot, pretty much everybody in Atlanta.
Yeah, a long list of artists he's done work with. But the prequel to his career was he was making beats in his dad's basement, and his dad was a very militant guy. He was like a military guy, and he told his son, he said, "Hey, look, I don't want you down here. This ain't what it is. I'm not gonna have you here making beats in my basement. I will throw your equipment out the fucking window," right? But soon after that happened, Zaytoven made a beat in his most famous song at the time. It was called "So Icy." He had produced a track called "So Icy," and he got
Gucci Mane song.
Gucci Mane, and he made $25,000 cash money. He came home and gave his mom $5,000. He gave his dad $5,000, and he said by the next week his dad was bringing snacks down to the basement. So it's fucked up that for a lot of parents are dream killers, and you don't even realize it. And it's sad that it had to take a monetary gain in order for you to, support your child. Yeah. And I think it's fucked up. And there's too many of us, because me and Keith don't have kids, but if I have a kid and they get older and they really have a passion for something, I want them to fail. Not in a bad way, but I want them to try as hard as they can and fail and say, all right, son, all right, daughter, what is it, something that you really want to do? Because I'm not going to push a job on my kids. I'm not. Obviously, you want to be employed to make money, but if you have a passion such as photography, or if you have a podcasting or coaching, whatever it is, I'm going to support you in that, because if it makes you happy, I want you to do that. And the unfortunate thing about a lot of parents, you're dream killers, because you'll see your kid being a producer making beats for people, and you'll say, you need to get a real job. What's a real job? What's a real job? You mean a job where you work a job where you're unsatisfied for 40-something years and you retire unfulfilled because you never tried to, venture out and do things that you really loved? And now you're this old motherfucker. You're older than Joe Biden, and you have no purpose, and now you're just going to die? When you retire, that's basically saying, all right, you're going to die now. That's what retirement is for most people in America.
Yeah.
It's fucked up, man.
That's the thing. I hear what you're saying. I think that it really comes down to ignorance, right?
Right.
I think that there is a generation of people out there, like, our parents' age, that don't know much about making it. Right. The only thing they know is filling out job applications, staying at a job for 30, 40 years, and then, potentially retiring. That's the only way, they know success. Maybe purchasing a home later in life, or something along those lines, right? They don't necessarily understand, especially in the Central Valley. There's not much of things here by the way of like entertainment. So most of the things that we see is oil field jobs, or just regular everyday jobs. But when you're a person and you're trying to pursue this unlikely career,
right?
Most parents can't even fathom that.
No, they can't comprehend it.
But you always say it's like a person will shoot your dream down, and then they'll pop in Dr. Dre's CD.
There you go.
Or, they'll pop in a Ice Cube, or whatever the case may be. But it's like, at one point, these were like regular people.
Yes. What's funny about people is they will, if you tell them you want to be a comedian, they'll be like, and they'll go right out and buy a ticket to see Andrew Schultz. Andrew Schultz started out the same way as everybody else. He started out with doubters. He started out with haters. He started out with non-believers. Everybody did. Chris Rock, all these people. Kevin Hart has a lot of stories of him being dead broke, and him struggling and all these things, and a lot of people not believing in him. So it goes on and on. It's like, in order to make it in a field that's very unlikely, you have to break through a wall. And you have to break through a wall of mainly people, and a lot of them your family. And believe it or not, I'm just going to tell you guys straight up. If you want to be a podcaster or a comedian, or you want to be whatever you want to be, something very unlikely, I'm just tell you right now, your family does not believe in you. They may say, oh, that's great. Oh, I'm glad you're trying that. But behind your back, they're like, he needs to get a job. They don't believe in you. You got to break through that wall, and that wall is your own parents. That wall is your own friends in some cases. So it's like, dog, the reason why I don't really care too much about anybody's opinion is because I care about the person sitting next to me, Keith. He's the guy that's on the journey with me. So I don't take into account what other people are trying to say, or, oh, these just two regular guys doing a podcast. Oh, that's not going anywhere. You can't put limits on my life, okay? You can't put restrictions on where I'm going to go, because I know where the fuck I'm going. I'm going straight to the top. You know, I've already made that proclamation, so I'm not taking a step back.
Yeah.
You know, it's just really weird. And I'll say this too. These jobs don't love you. None of these jobs love you. I don't give a fuck where you work. I'm just being honest. You know, some people, it's some jobs that do. But back in our parents and before them, like our grandparents' time, you know, they retired, they got a nice gold watch, and I worked for UPS for this many years, or I worked here and I retired, and you know, I got retirement now. These jobs will replace your ass so quick.
With a robot.
They'll replace you with a robot. They'll replace you with someone less skilled in order to pay them less money, because they know they can't give you any more raises, right? If you've been working at a place for 20-some years, they're not going to keep giving you raises.
Yeah.
The shit you got paid 20 years ago, you probably barely getting paid more now, because that company has decided you're maxed out. So in their eyes, you don't have any more potential. Regardless of how good you done at that job, they're gonna find somebody else. They're gonna look for any time you came in late or whatever to fire your ass. I know people that worked their jobs for 15, 20 years and ended up getting fired.
My girl's mom, she was telling me there was somebody at her job that had, I don't know if they quit, but they got another job or something like that. They put in their little 2-week notice. And then she ended up getting, I think she ended up getting let go a little bit early. But she was saying that they posted the new job on, I don't know, what's those little...
Indeed and shit?
Yeah, like Indeed or something like that. And the starting salary that they were advertising out there was higher than what she had been getting paid. My girl's mom had been getting paid, and she's been there for some years now.
Wow. But see, this is what they do. These, like, dog, you got to understand, there's a hierarchy at any job. There's the top of the company, and the top of the company is going to do whatever they want to do in order to benefit them. See, here's the thing. You could work for a place for 35 years. They could have treated you great. Right? They could have treated you great. You retired. They gave you a nice gold watch. You got retirement, but you don't own 1% of the company. You own nothing. So the difference is when you're trying to be a content creator or a comedian or whatever it is, you own that content. That's the difference. So what people don't get, like a guy like Zaytoven, who was young, made that song, made $25,000, gave his mom and dad $5,000 a piece. He's making content that he owns. Like, if you work in a job, you don't own shit.
Yeah, not even a uniform. Sometimes they make you turn the uniform
You got to turn your uniform back in. And you got 20 years of ball sweat in those fucking pants, and now they're going to wash those pants and give them to the next person.
I think when I got fired from Aaron's, I think I had to return my shirts.
That's crazy.
If I'm not mistaken, yeah.
Yeah, because they're going to take those shirts back. They're going to peel your name off and put a new person's name, but when they fire that motherfucker, they're going to peel his name off.
Same thing, yeah. I think the one thing that I would say is that we have to believe in ourselves more than anything.
Yeah.
And I think that's what Zaytoven did, because, you know, sometimes, you know, we can start to believe all the naysayers out there. So if Zaytoven's in there making beats, and his dad come down to the basement, he like, yo, that beat is trash. You need to go apply at McDonald's or something like that. And he believed that. Like, imagine how much good music we would miss out on, or just the whole culture of Atlanta, and how, you know, they grew to be, you know, one of the biggest cities as far as hip hop music goes. So I think the best thing we can do for ourselves. And it's not the easiest thing to do. Sometimes when you hear something so many times, you start to believe it. But, you know, for anybody out there that seems to be running into some sort of doubt or some sort of naysayers out there, we got to just form ways where we can, you know, give ourselves positive talks. Like, yes, I know I'm going to be successful. I know I'm going to be successful. The one thing that I will say, though, is like when it comes to like the whole dream killing thing, as far as like Zaytoven's parents and parents like that, the only thing that I lean on as far as like if a person is going to be successful or not is the work. So if you're a person that is like, oh, I'm gonna be a producer, I'm gonna make beats, or I'm gonna be a singer, I'm gonna be whatever, right. And you just kind of like, you know, half doing it, like you make a beat every couple weeks or something like that.
You're not passionate about
it. Or you know, if you say you want to be a YouTuber or whatever, and you do reviews or you do like, you know, whatever type of like shoe vlogs or whatever the case may be, and you're doing one every month, it's just like, nah, like you need to go get a job.
You need to get a job. Yeah. Because you don't have any passion towards what you say you're doing.
Yeah, exactly.
Because here's the thing, when you're passionate about something, people don't have to force you to do it or coerce you into doing something. You just do it. Mm-hmm. I woke up this morning with a podcast on my mind. Nothing else. Mm-hmm. Like everything else takes a back seat. Mm-hmm. I might be a little bit late to work today. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm not worried about that. Like I'm gonna show up to work, but I'm also gonna do something that I'm extremely passionate about, that I see myself doing long term. Mm-hmm. So you have to be able to prioritize the things that are going on. Somebody shouldn't have to force you to do it.
There was this J. Cole just released a freestyle over Drake's Pipe Down beat, and I don't know the exact words, but basically he was talking about how he was on vacation and he was writing this song, the freestyle that he did. Mm-hmm. And he was basically saying like his passion is like driving him to, you know, not be able to relax when he should be relaxing. You know what I mean? And I be feeling like the same way sometimes. Like, you know, we and even with us, like if we go out to a show or we go to a concert or something like that, it's always like your mind is still focused on content. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's just what happens when you know, they always say like everybody is great at something. You just kind of got to find what it is, right?
Right.
And I think that when you do find that, and you are pursuing that, your brain don't turn off. Like me personally, I go to sleep listening to some type of informative thing.
Right.
Like, I try like any like dead moment that I have, whether I'm driving or something, I'll turn on a YouTube video of people you know, talking about the news or somebody talking about the business or marketing or something like that. And it's always just like, for me, it's just nonstop. And, you know, sometimes it could, you know, it may like ruin certain relationships and stuff like that. But at the same time, it's like, I am more passionate about some of these things versus having conversations with such and such at any given moment. So that's just the way it is. And I think and I'm not there yet. So this is all like a case study in a sense, but I think that's what it takes, you know?
Yeah, 100%. I think the reason why me and Keith can, like when we go on these outings, whether it's a concert or Andrew Schultz or the family event, the reason why we can give such a vivid account of what we've witnessed is based on the fact that we've been processing content from the time we walked into the building. Mm-hmm. Whatever it is, all the way like the Childish Gambino when we went to that concert, like from the very beginning of the concert to the end, we gave an account and we didn't leave a whole bunch of holes in it. Like we paid a shitload of money for parking. Then we paid a shitload of money for tacos that were underwhelming tacos.
It was a liberal taco.
Oh, yeah, it was a very liberal taco. Might as well have been vegan. Might as well have been a fucking vegan taco. Then, you know, we talked about the kid that was, you know, said we were stealing seats when we weren't stealing seats.
Yeah.
You know, then we enjoyed the concert and the openers. Ray Shrimmer opening and all of this. Like, we could give a very vivid account because based on the fact that we're passionate about how we deliver the message to the people listening to the content, right? But it just takes a certain amount of investment from not only from you and your co-host, but just into the people But yeah, I don't want to be blabbing too much. But yeah, I just thought that this Zaytoven TikTok that I seen was something to mention because there's going to be a lot of people that don't believe in you, and that includes your mom and dad. Let me be very clear. For any of those that create the content, if you told your parents about this, they don't give a fuck. They don't. On average, I would say out of 10 parents, one of them give a fuck. If you have 10 sets of parents, maybe one actually believes in their kid. The rest of them, they're kind of like, that's really unrealistic.
I think also, like, first of all, that's our goal, right? We're supposed to make people believers. So if you're that type of person, like I said, that's doing one YouTube video every 3 months or something like that, and you consider yourself a YouTuber, you're not a YouTuber. So, like, your parent isn't supposed to believe in you.
Right.
But at the same time, like, it's also okay to support your dreams from 5 to 9.
Right.
You know what I mean? So a lot of people out there, they be acting like, oh, I can't work at the fast food restaurant and also be a musician, or I can't, maybe if you're a teacher or whatever, right, you want to pursue acting or something like that. Like you can still make money and pursue your dreams at the same time, because also you're going to need some money to pursue your dreams. Like Eddie and I, we find ways to, put our money together to make this podcast work. But if we was just dudes that was just like, man, I'm gonna thug it out. Like I'm gonna just, if this podcast don't work, that's just it for me. It's like, no, like you can make some change. Yeah. If you can pay minimum wage, or you delivering packages or whatever the case may be, and then you get off of work and then you hit the studio. You get off of work and you make your YouTube videos, or you get off of work and you go to LA and work on music videos, or whatever the case may be. Like it's ways of doing it that even looks better. Like especially if you have like super conservative parents and they they don't necessarily believe in entertainment as a career. It's like, yo, do what they want you to do, during the day, or part-time or whatever. And then as soon as you get off, just go in until you fall asleep, and then get up and do that every single day, and then something is gonna happen for you.
I'm sorry.
There was a guy. Shout out to Jay Millian. He's a young dude too. He's like 19 years old, but he signed with Blast and his team, and he talked about how he grew up in a church and playing music and instruments and stuff like that. But when you see him work, like we shot a music video for him, and he's just so passionate about music. He's not even trying. Like he's in the studio. We were shooting a music video. It was people in the studio over there. They making beats, the whole nine. And the way he got in touch with Blast was he just kept sending him music and kept sending. It's like almost every day. Like, he'll remix one of his songs. He'll shoot it to his DM and all this kind of stuff. And then eventually Blast hit him back. And then now he's on tour with Blast, opening up for him and stuff like that.
I don't think that's why Blast noticed it. I think it's because Blast eventually clicked on a link, and that guy was talented.
And all that work that he put in prior to that song getting there. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Because here's the thing. The tactic that I had was comparable to that guy. Because for many, many weeks when we did this podcast, I would send a link to people. I would just send them a link. I wouldn't say, hey, listen to this, or hey, share this. I send people links. I used to send people links with no directions. I would send it to them, because me sending them the link to the podcast was soliciting it enough.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be like, I don't want to tell people. First of all, folks, content creators, stop telling people what to do with their content, with your content. Hey, share this with a friend. No, I'm not telling you anything. I don't want to try to coerce you into liking me. I want to send you the content. If you listen, cool. If you don't. And from that point forward, you can have this organic introduction to the content. And by the time you listen, I don't give a fuck if I sent you 50 links and you never listen. I know that one time you click, I got you now. Because I know the content's good enough for you to enjoy it. And now you're going to go back and listen to all the other episodes, because now we got good content out here.
Yeah.
I'm just going to come out and say it because you came to this platform, so I'm going to say it. I am tired of content creators sending you shit and telling you what to do with it. Stop doing that. Stop tagging 95 other people with your content.
That Facebook tags, that'd be trash.
Stop the face, because I will immediately untag myself.
Yeah. That's also not how virality works. If
Right.
that's even a word. You know what I mean? Like when it comes, like for me, I'm not a super social media guy.
Yeah.
But when I do post content, it's pretty engaging.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So people are, if you're good at what you do, people are already going to be on the lookout for it. So you don't have to, post a picture and send it to people like, hey, like this or like that. It's like, that's garnering you a few more likes or whatever the case may be. But people be on Instagram all day. When they scroll through it, they gonna see your video and they gonna like it or they not gonna like it. Sending it to somebody's inbox is not doing that much more than what it would do on its own.
Right. It's just I kind of compare it to like how you deal with women. You can't coerce a woman into liking you. Mm-hmm. Just let her like you. Like just be present. Be cool and shit and let her like you. It's an organic exchange, right? Versus it's the same thing as with content creators. Like, don't force this shit on me. Let me find your shit and let me like it that way.
That's like a what I would call like an immature version of marketing.
Right, very. Mm-hmm. It's very antiquated too. Mm-hmm. This that may have been cool in 2009 to tag a bunch of people. But that shit's outdated. People are tired of being bothered. I don't want to see all your updates. I will immediately untag myself from your shit.
Yeah. And also, if I like it, I'm going to just like it. You know what I mean?
Right.
I also don't want to feel pressured into just sharing something because I know you.
Because I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do that. Now, I went, shout out to Crafty Bernardo. I had him on social media, seen he was an artist, went checked this shit out. I was like, oh, I like this song. Oh, this song is dope. This is dope too. And I just shared it. Mm-hmm. He didn't be like, hey man, share my shit now. Yeah. Like I just went and seen it and I liked it and I shared it. Yeah. Now if I go through some of the songs and I don't like some of them, I'm not gonna share it. Mm-hmm. But if I like some, I'm gonna click it. Shout out to Crafty, man. Yeah. But it's other artists. We had who we have on here? Ness Julius. Ness is dope. I like it, and I'll share his song, or I'll let him like, hey, I really like that. Mm-hmm. And I'm only telling you that because I really like it. Mm-hmm. I'm not one of these people in your comments leaving flame emojis when your shit ain't fire.
I gotta stop with the flame emojis.
Stop with the flame emojis. If your shit ain't fire, I'm not leaving a flame emoji.
I ain't gonna front. I heard somebody like, I don't want to say who it was, but I heard somebody dropped a project. It came out and two other people was talking about the project. And it was like, I was like, yo, the project is kind of mid. Like, it's kind of the same song over and over. Fast forward 2 hours later, I'm looking on Instagram and it's flame emojis all under. I'm like, come on, dog.
You don't need that. That's not real support.
It also doesn't say anything. Like, when people really are consuming like, for instance, I was talking about the J. Cole thing, right? He dropped a little freestyle last night, and a bunch of people, like Drake posted it, Timbaland posted it, a couple other people, and I was like, man, this is dope. And me as a fan of J. Cole, I like to see like people appreciate what you also like. So I was just looking through it. I was like, oh, this is dope. That is getting like a lot of attention, right? So I think I clicked on Drake's comments or something like that, and I was scrolling through it, and then I seen Fabulous name. I think his name is like My Fabulous Life or something like that, his Instagram name. And essentially he was saying like, yo, like the multi-syllable rhymes was dope. But that means you really consume the content. It's not just like, yo, this is fire. Yeah. Like you really have something to say about the content versus like just some flame emojis.
Exactly.
And that's how you know like it's some inauthenticity to it. You know what I mean?
A lot of
like if you're engaging with the content, you would have something to say about it. Oh, that beat is fire. Who made that beat? Or oh, that like, the way you hit that note at the end, or that pocket is crazy. That kind of thing.
Yeah, we gotta stop that. Emojis. Stop giving microwavable reactions. Like let it cook in the oven for a while before you actually give it. Because the thing about it is it's like it's kind of a raggedy analogy, but when you microwave things, they're done in 2 minutes. You put them in the oven, you're taking more time to cook a real meal. Yeah. So when you say like, hey, I like your guys' podcast. When you talked about this, I was dying. That's when I'm like, this guy's listening.
Yeah, shout out to Brent, man. Every time I see Brent, he'll bring up a topic. Like, oh, I love when you said this, or when Eddie said this. Oh, I knew who you was talking about when you said that.
Yeah.
Versus like, just that kind of fake. Like, hey, our podcast is doing cool.
Yeah, first of all, we appreciate all the, the comments we get. The fact that you recognize that we exist on planet Earth, great.
Yeah,
right.
It's cool.
But at the same time, we are also aware of the inauthentic, reactions people will give you just to feel like they're in your good graces. It's like you don't even need to tell me about the podcast. It's fine.
Yeah, if you don't listen, it's okay.
It's okay.
I'm not going to be mad at you. You don't have to bring it up whenever, just because you see me.
It's okay, because over the past couple of years, we've had over 60,000 other people listen. Mm-hmm. So it's like, what I'm saying? We don't need you to give a fake fucking reaction to stuff. Mm-hmm. So the thing about it, man, yeah, I don't got a whole lot else to say in regards to this topic. But yeah, man, let's move on.
All right.
Switching gears. Burger King. Recently, Burger King came out with what they call the Keep It Real meals, right? And part of the Keep It Real meals is a couple celebrities. Let me see if I can find their names. One of them is Nelly, being one of the headliners, I guess. And his real name is Cornell. What the hell is his last name?
Haynes.
Cornell Haynes, right? So, okay, Cornell Haynes. So when you pull up to the drive-thru, it's called the Cornell Haynes meal. It's not called the Nelly meal, right? Which I don't get. The problem I have with this is the fact that Burger King is just lazy and their PR team has no idea of how to leverage the culture, meaning like hip hop culture. Because McDonald's started off with Travis Scott with these signature meals, right? Travis Scott had a whole line of clothes he released, the what they call it, the Cactus Jack, and he had and it was all sold out. It was expensive too. McDonald's shirts and all of that.
I wonder how much those is going for on eBay right now.
I wonder, yeah, because that's probably that's limited too. That's going to be like the Szechuan sauce. Probably in the next 20 years, that's just going to be worth like $800 for one T-shirt.
Yeah.
So it's probably more than that now. Probably be worth a couple thousand. But here's the deal. After they went from Travis Scott, they went to like J Balvin. I think they also had Bad Bunny also, right? And then they had Saweetie, the Saweetie meal. What the good thing that they've done at McDonald's is whoever's a part of their PR team, they understand the culture, meaning they know who's relevant. Because honestly, Saweetie ain't no just super huge big time star, but they're leveraging her. They're leveraging her current status. Like they're doing things that are concurrent with the culture.
Yeah.
So they got Saweetie. Now, if you try to get Saweetie 5 years from now, nobody's gonna really care. No disrespect to Saweetie, but I don't know how many people. I don't know if anybody's gonna care about her in 5 years. But anyways, so I think McDonald's, and what sucks though, where McDonald's fucked up is they didn't personalize the meals very good after Travis Scott. All they do is they just add the same food. They don't really personalize it.
Yeah, the Saweetie meal is a Big Mac with some chicken nuggets.
Big Mac with 4 nuggets and fries. The only thing they did is they have sweet and sour sauce, but they call it Saweetie sauce. So all they paid for was a little piece of paper that said Saweetie sauce, and they put out the same product. That's crazy. They didn't add anything extra, so McDonald's didn't hardly spend any money. The only money they spent was really paying the artists and maybe a little extra marketing.
The thing on the paint on the bag and the top of the sweet and sour sauce. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
They did a great job of hardly spending that much money and leveraging this massive audience. Now, this is where Burger King fucked up. They must have some, and it's no slight to white people, but it must be some older white guy that's like 53 years old that's a part of their PR team that thought Nelly was hot. Nelly has not been relevant in over 10 years.
Yeah.
I'm not saying Nelly sucks, but he's not relevant. He's not making relevant music anymore. So you went and got Nelly, and then you changed the name to Cornell Haynes? Dude, Cornell Haynes sounds like a 75-year-old black man. You don't go through a drive-thru saying, let me get that Cornell Haynes.
The thing about that, too, is we some people have kind of... let us know their government name, like a Curtis Jackson.
That was a pun right there.
Huh?
Let us.
Let
us know.
It just, you know what I'm saying? His brain is crazy. but it's like Curtis Jackson, O'Shea Jackson, Andre Young, Marshall Mathers. These are people who we hear their government names, but we also know who their their artist name is. But Cornell Haynes, I have heard that before because he's acted and stuff like that. But other than that, I didn't. If I just seen that on a like a billboard or something, and it wasn't Nelly's face next to it, I wouldn't have no idea who that is. So,
and the fucked up thing about it is very stereotypical. It's a very stereotypical name of the meal. Keep it real meals.
Yeah, it hasn't. It's not branded. It has no connection to you.
No, but when you think of the word keep it real, you more or less think of like the culture, like black culture, right? So you're trying to sell Cornell Haynes burgers and also call it the keep it real meal.
Yeah.
That's just not...
Cornell Haynes burgers sound like it would go right next to Uncle Ben's.
It go next to Uncle Tom's.
Yeah, I think as a black people, we have to do, and not even a black people, just in general, we have to do a better job of finding partnerships that make sense.
Right. This doesn't make sense.
Like I think about when Gambino did the Adidas ad, where his shoes were basically like meant to get dirty. And he had the ad come out and they were dropping food on the shoes and all this kind of stuff. And it's just like, that's him though. He looked like slightly homeless. So, but there's some other things that come out where dudes athletes will come out with a McDonald's meal. It's like, y'all not eating McDonald's. Like maybe Chad Johnson, because we see it in full effect, but a lot of these athletes out here, they not consuming that. They probably have chefs and stuff where they got their calories and their macros and all that counted on a daily basis. But you even see like certain artists, they might get like a Sprite ad or something like that, and it's like, dog, I know you're not really drinking this. So it's just like I think that we, and even, I'm speaking out or, maybe projecting for myself, like, just being mindful that, there may be some partnerships that come along. And even like with Rick Ross, with his Wingstop stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And he was talking about how he turned down a cigarette deal that was going to be worth like 7-8 figures or something like that. But he turned it down because he was like, dog, I don't even smoke cigarettes. Why would I don't even want
But he does eat chicken wings.
He does eat chicken
wings. Many chicken wings.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I just think we gotta do better.
Yeah, definitely. You have to start getting sponsorships that make sense. Like, the thing about it here is we don't want to be hypocrites because I'm sure me and Keith will have ads within a future sense. So
Top 3% podcast.
Yeah, man, we getting up there. I don't know if we want to explain that or not.
No, we can talk about it later.
Yeah, talk about it later. Anyways, yeah, it like getting like a beard oil sponsor or something.
That'd be fire.
Me and Keith both have beards, whatever the case. You just want to do things that are more authentic to you. Like, I don't want to be on here promoting tobacco products. I would have to turn it down.
Yeah, that doesn't even make sense.
It don't make sense for me and Keith. We don't smoke. So you guys are going to know like, oh, Keith and Eddie just trying to get the bag. Yeah. I'm sure you would probably still respect us, though. You wouldn't be like, oh, I'm not listening to that podcast no more. But it would kind of alter how, you view us, because it would be like, okay, because it's all kind of different companies like My Blue and all these other companies that have these little vapes and whatnot. I'm not promoting a vape. I don't use a vape. None of that. I can't.
That's the interesting thing too that I see with some podcasts is it seems like they're regurgitating the same ads.
Oh, a lot, because the ads is paying.
Yeah. It's like this ad is on this podcast. This ad is on this. Oh yeah. Ad. So it's just like
ZipRecruiter's on a lot of them. What's it called? Freshly, I think, is on a lot of them. Or no, HelloFresh. That's on a lot of them. There's a ton of different ads that are on these podcasts.
Hey, I had this is a tangent. I had reached out to Barstool because I was thinking about like promoting my app on like one of their podcasts.
Yeah,
but they never got back to me. So
well, of course not.
Yeah,
I mean, they will once they see that you're attached to a podcast that's becoming more and more successful. Then it might be like, hey, who's this guy? And it's like, no.
Yeah, it's too late then.
You can't afford me now.
Yeah.
I think it's to the point to where me and Keith, we stay doing this independent thing. We get the ads we want. Like, we don't need to become a part of a platform. We could just do it the way we do it, Cause
that's the thing. That's the interesting thing that I've been kind of thinking about more so recently. It's like what is the benefit of going that route, like connecting with some of these bigger platforms?
The only benefit is having them be an affiliate and using their name. But truth be told, what I don't like about a lot of these platforms, and it's no slight to Barstool or Spotify or anybody, they're just leveraging the celebrity of some people instead of the conversation. Mm-hmm. So they will get a celebrity to start a podcast, and the conversation is fucked.
Oh, yeah, trash.
The conversations are fucked. They don't know how to talk. They don't know how to communicate. It's bland. It's very, because I don't want to shit on, we talked about a podcast we heard yesterday, and we don't like to shit on people's content, but it just was not great at all. And I'm sure that this guy got a decent Spotify deal.
You gave it away there. But the same guys that are putting these flame emojis under artists' music videos and whatnot need to go under these podcasts and put some garbage emojis under there. Yeah, use your emojis properly.
Yeah, because honestly, dude, we're in a very different space where people will stay locked into the content because we're saying something that either resonates or it engages them. What I've learned about conversation is you don't have to talk about things that everyone can relate to. However, somebody's making noise out there?
They're knocking on the door.
Really? What the fuck do they want now? Jesus Christ. Oh, Lord. What's going on? We should have put a sign out there. Yeah, you got the mail? Oh, okay. That ain't us. That ain't mine. It's your package. We need to get a sign that says podcasting in session, do not disturb.
No, I don't do that.
Why that?
Because it just draws attention. Unnecessary attention.
What if she walks in like, oh my God, what's going on in here? You guys selling drugs?
And then I didn't tell her that we were podcasting. So she might be like, well, I didn't say you could podcast in there.
I don't get why. That doesn't even make any logical sense.
Yeah.
I've been doing it a while.
Yeah.
When you walk in here, though, it's a decent looking setup. You got it looks like everything's cool. I can see if you had a fucking whole rock band in here or some shit.
Yeah, she didn't. That was one of the things she said. She said there was a guy that had a music studio.
Oh wow!
Like on the second floor or something like that, and she just couldn't deal with it. So, but the music is loud though.
It's very loud.
And also, there's a way you could have a studio. Like if you had this type of building where it's like lawyers and all that, there's a way you can do it. Like if you just had headphones and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
You could get away with having a studio in here. But niggas just like to play loud music.
Oh yeah, they rock it out. Yeah. But to make a long story short, I just feel like Burger King fell flat on their face. With this Cornell Haynes burger. This is not going to be, or the Keep It Real meals and the celebrities they got, man. It's like, nobody really knows who they are. Watch, I'm going to look it up. Keep It Real meals. They have like 3 celebrities. Keep It Real meals. And I don't think, like you mentioned, I don't think they have the marketing money that McDonald's has.
Yeah. McDonald's, I think out of all the companies in the world, they were spending the most on advertising.
Yeah, okay, let's see here. All right. It's Chase Hudson, the Chase Hudson meal, the Cornell Haynes meal, and Larissa Machado. Like, these are people that are just not relevant.
I don't know who that is.
Chase Hudson is some, like, 19-year-old, like, social media guy. Who also acts, and then Cornell Haynes is Nelly, who is not relevant, and then Larissa Machado is not really relevant either. So it's like Burger King, you tried, but you failed. Sometimes when people come out with shit, me and Keith just laugh, and it's not because we have the expertise or we're a PR team, but honestly, I think me and Keith would have did a better job for Burger King than these people did.
Yeah, me and my uncle used to talk about that all the time. Like, it'd be like, it was a couple years ago where Domino, they were filling up potholes but putting their logo in the potholes or something like that as part of their marketing plan. And we was just like, this is what y'all doing? Like,
where was this at?
Just across America. I didn't see it in Bakersfield, but
just a McDonald's emblem in the potholes?
No, Domino's.
Oh, Domino?
Yeah, Domino's. They would go around and they would fill up potholes, and then they would put the little logo right next to it or whatever. Which is like, it's kind of cool, but it's just like these people with master's degrees and 20
it's the
years
best
of
you
experience.
could do.
Yeah,
it sounds like somebody like a drunk uncle could come up with this shit.
Yeah, exactly.
It's basically them showing what it is them showing that they want your pizza to get to you safe without your pizza being flat. So we're gonna fill potholes. And it's like, dude, you're not paying that much money to fill these holes up, for one. It's not costing you anything. And not to mention, it's like, this is not relevant. Just make a better pizza.
Yeah.
Like, we don't care about the potholes, man. Well, we do. But at the same time, it's like, yo, let the city fix this shit.
Yeah.
Just give me my goddamn pizza. That's all I give a fuck about.
I will say, like, as of recently, I have been more of a believer of marketing.
Right.
Like, I used to think, like, yeah, why do they need to put their logo, or why do they need a billboard, or why do they need that? And I was thinking about it, and somebody was saying, like, even in terms of, like, you know, any sort of email marketing or whatever the case may be, even like if the person turns you down at that moment, or you unsubscribe from an email list or whatever the case may be, when that person is in need of a certain service, that's still going to be the first thing that pops into their head, because like, you know, that's the last person that advertised to them. Or even like when you're hungry. I remember I was recording something yesterday, and then some people came in with like some Subway sandwiches, and I was like, dang, Subway do like sound pretty good right now. I didn't end up going, but I could see how like, you know, seeing that, smelling that could make you be like, you know, but if they had walked in and they just had sandwiches and there was no logo on the bag or anything, then there was no way for me to connect the dots of, you know, me wanting to go to Subway. So marketing is important, man.
Yeah. The problem too is, for any marketing strategy, I believe you have to have someone you're marketing to.
Yeah.
Right? So I would assume that the name Keep It Real Meal and using Nelly as your number one meal, the person that you're putting out there, I would say it's safe to say that you're marketing either to like the hip hop culture.
Yeah, keep it real.
Keep it real. Then you got Cornell Haynes, which is Nelly.
What does that mean, though? Like, what does keeping it real have to do with food?
I don't know. I have no idea. I just think that people have these weird statements that they find synonymous with black people, like keep it real or street cred and shit like that. And it's like, truth be told, black people, we evolved from these statements. We like the shit that people talk about, like keep it real and all of this. A lot of times, like, we have graduated from saying stuff over 10 years ago, and people still think that we are doing that shit.
Keep it real.
Like, I don't really, we don't abuse that statement.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they fell on their face. Not only Burger King, but a lot of places, you got to do better. I understand you've been putting out a mediocre product. Like, I'm not trying to shit on Little Caesars, but I got to do it before we switch topics. Little Caesars, you need to do better. That pizza crust there it tastes like child abuse. Get that shit, change something. When I was a kid, Little Caesars was really good, actually.
Really?
Little Caesars had its own, because back when I was a kid, pizza parlors were big deals. Every main pizza place had a pizza parlor.
You go in and play games.
Oh, yeah. Pizza Hut had one. Little Caesars had one. These places had them, but now they got rid of the pizza parlors, and now they just have the hot and readies, or, you walk in there. But Little Caesars pizza, that crust is hard as a motherfucker. The cheese is just like, nah.
I just had Little Caesars the other day, and I promised myself, and I may forget that I promised myself this, but I promised myself that I wouldn't go there again because the sauce is so acidic.
Yes,
it's like the after effects of
burping it up.
Yeah.
It's just, oh my god,
it's disgusting. So
yeah,
hold me to that. If you see me out in public eating Little Caesars,
yeah, it's very poor. It's very. It tastes very. Little Caesars pizza tastes like if a PPP PPP loan had a taste, it would be Little Caesars pizza.
Yeah,
yeah. They got to do better. That sauce is fucked up, man. And I would say that I really don't even eat pizza like that anymore because I just realize how terrible it is for you. It's just so bad. But last time I had Domino's, it was really good.
Yeah, last time I'm not gonna front. Last time I had Domino's, it was good too.
That shit was.
It was,
good.
and I got like it was just cheese and vegetables on top, and I was like, "Yo, this is fire."
Yeah. One of my favorite places. I never go there, but
Domino's is super salty though.
Oh, yeah, they are super. Well, they all salty as fuck.
Yeah.
You know, Pizza Hut is good. I really like Pizza Hut's the ravioli. You know, it's like the chicken pasta. Mm-hmm. That shit's good. Mm-hmm. Chicken pasta. I don't fuck with the wings over there though.
They all soggy.
It's soggy. Mm-hmm. They just got a bunch of sauce all over them. Mm-hmm. It's like that same acidic. Like if you burp 2 days later, you still taste it.
You still taste. Yeah, that's nasty.
That's why I don't really fuck with Burger King like that. Because you eat that burger and it's like flame broiled, and you burp and you taste it all day. Mm-hmm. I can't eat that, man.
Yeah, you're having a barbecue in your stomach.
Yeah, I got a whole fucking cookout going on in my stomach. Yeah, man. All right, switching gears. Recently, there's been back and forth with rapper Joyner Lucas and Karen Civil. And for those who don't know who Joyner Lucas is, he is a rapper. And Karen Civil...
sorry to cut you off, but when they were on Clubhouse, I'd be surprised at like how ignorant in terms of the definition, not being in a disrespectful way, like how ignorant some people are when it comes to certain people. Like there were people in the Clubhouse conversation, like Whack 100, who didn't even know who Joyner Lucas was.
Really?
Yeah. I'm like, Joyner Lucas is like popping out here. Like he has a decent rap career, but go ahead.
Yeah. Karen Civil. I'll just per definition. He's an American social media and digital media marketing strategist. She gained attention for creating running WheezyThankYou.com, a website where the rapper Lil Wayne published letters to his fans while he was incarcerated at Rikers Island. So she's basically an American social media digital marketing strategist. And she has power in the game in regards to elevating rappers or other artists' careers based on her personal relationships with other people. And recently, I'll read the article. Hold on 1 second. And here we are. All right. In the article, Joyner Lucas and Karen Civil's full Clubhouse argument surfaces. Joyner Lucas exploded on Karen Civil this weekend, accusing the social media and digital marketing strategist of taking advantage of him and scamming him out of $60,000, which he allegedly paid her to facilitate blog placements, opening performances, radio interviews, and more. Joyner accused Karen of using the money for other means, including setting up mixed shows and more things that he didn't need at the time. In addition to it, Joyner says that he was expecting a baby at the time, and his $60,000 expense was his last-ditch effort to make it in the industry. The Massachusetts-bred rapper explained his side for about 8 minutes during a loaded Clubhouse conversation before Karen Civil jumped in and explained that she was in contact with Joyner's manager, whom he still works with countless times to explain what was happening with the money. Despite agreeing to speak in neutral tones with Karen, Joyner ended up getting heated at times, which makes sense given how desperate of a situation he was in when he initially approached her. But the conversation escalated and turned into a yelling match. If you ended up missing the ruckus over the weekend, the Clubhouse conversation has been uploaded to YouTube and you can play it back, blah, 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 blah. Okay. All right. Here's the deal, man. Multiple things are true. Karen Civil has a name for helping a lot of artists, such as, Mac Miller and, Nipsey Hussle, but multiple things are true about people. People are very multifaceted in ways, and a lot of people have gotten away with a lot of shit. And she has, if she has that much power in music or, to help people get on to where you pay her $60,000, how do you know she didn't steal that? Mm-hmm. And she has multiple people who have came out and said bad things about her besides Joyner Lucas. In addition to that, there's a dude named Jason Lee who runs a website called, what's it called again?
Hollywood Unlocked.
Hollywood Unlocked. Jason Lee.
It's a radio show also.
It's a radio show also. Mm-hmm. And he had posted something that put her in a bad light. Karen Civil. Karen Civil was supposed to pay some dude to hack into his account and then take that post down, right? And what ended up happening is he found out about it, and I guess Karen Civil didn't pay the guy. Is that what happened? Mm-hmm. She didn't pay the guy, the hacker, so the hacker came clean and said Karen Civil had me do it. Mm-hmm. And then Karen Civil admitted that she had a hacker do it. Mm-hmm. So if you are willing to go to these lengths, which in a way, if she admitted that, she should be in trouble for that. Because
there might be some legal ramifications.
There might be some legal ramifications. Mm-hmm. But if somebody's willing to pay somebody to go on a site and take something down, and then you admit to it, what's stopping her from stealing $60,000? That's crazy. Mm-hmm. And there's some people that got out in front of it and said like, Karen Civil's a good person or this and that, but I mean, you could be good and bad to people.
Yeah. The people that came out and said she's a good person can be telling the truth, and Joyner Lucas can also be telling the truth.
100%.
Because especially in those situations, especially with celebrities, you're going to treat each person different. As far as the average celebrity, you know what I mean? Like, if you at dinner with Jay-Z and Beyonce, you're going to be on your best behavior and, chopping it up all, chummy with them. But if an average fan comes up and be like, hey, can you sign my poster? Can you sign my CD? You may shoo them off.
All right.
You know what I mean? So I think that you can't try to like diminish what Joyner Lucas or Cameron came out, and Jesse Wu and a bunch of other people came out and said certain things. You can't diminish what these people are saying just because to you, Karen Civil is a good person.
All right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, you got to realize, too, and then DJ Academics just recently said that Karen Civil stopped a lot of artists from looking like bad people out in the public. Mm-hmm. She made them look like personable, people by not exposing the shit that they're really doing. But here's the problem. She's not doing that probably to look like a good person or make people look good. She's doing it because it's affecting her pockets. It's just like a sports agency, and you got two athletes that got DUIs, and you got this athlete that punched somebody in the club. You're going to do your best job to cover up what these athletes are doing so your agency doesn't look bad, because what's going to happen is there's going to be an email chain, and it's going to say, hey, so-and-so, Eddie McGee's agency has 3 athletes that got DUIs and they can't control themselves. Don't go to that agency. In turn, that affects my money. Mm-hmm.
So even worse, better example than that is some of these D1 football programs.
Right.
They covering up, rape cases and domestic, bar fights. And
they got the best lawyers.
Mm-hmm. It's a lot of your favorite athletes have had certain things covered up. Aaron Hernandez, Jameis Winston, all have had these like crazy stories, that happened to them in college and stuff that got covered up.
Yeah, my thing is this though, like as the problem comes from the top. So at the very top of these institutions, let's say it's Texas, the University of Texas, and your star player has an accusation of him punching a woman in the face. You're going to do everything to keep that guy on the field because it gives you the best chance to win.
Yeah.
But the difference is if you have integrity and I find out my star running back is punching women in the face, you're off my fucking team. Mm-hmm. But that's just me because I have integrity. But I feel like in a lot of positions, at a lot of high positions, your integrity a lot of times is negotiable.
Also, and this is from personal experience, just dealing with different coaches, that integrity only surfaces in terms of not the athletes that aren't the greatest.
Exactly.
So and I've seen it like with guys on our team, like if a guy wasn't necessarily a starter or he may be on a frost off or JV and he acting up in class and doing all these things, he out of there.
Yeah.
But the star athlete, and I witnessed it myself with certain athletes that was doing certain stuff. Yeah. I remember this guy. I remember Philip Thomas was getting his hair braided at practice.
Oh, my God.
Like, he had a bummed ankle at the time, but he was sitting down in a chair getting his hair braided and just watching the plays. I'm like, yo, what is like, that just the aesthetic doesn't look good, especially like the younger guys coming up. If we're supposed to be disciplined and practicing every day, you got somebody out here looking like R. Kelly video out here on the field.
Yeah, I'd be like, hey, first of all, like the thing about it, like as a head coach, what a lot of people don't realize, or a lot of these coaches, they like winning more than they They value winning more than they value actually having integrity. Because like you mentioned, some of the lower level guys, the guys that don't start, you're going to be on their ass like white on rice. But that guy, I know guys that missed multiple practices and still started. I know situations where guys, they didn't come to practice, or they just sat down with a hurt ankle, and the other guy took all the reps. He took all the hits the whole week, and when the game started, you started that person. If I'm a player and my coach does me like that.
Sorry to cut you off, but the coach will lead with this idea of like, if you don't practice, you don't play.
Oh, yeah.
And then come Friday, hey, suit up, get in there.
Get in there, yeah.
You're like, come on, dog.
Bro, I don't care if we getting our ass whooped. I'm going to put the players that have invested into this team.
Yeah.
I'll be like, look, we win and lose as a team, and I mean that. Meaning that if my number one quarterback can't keep his hands off people and he's fighting people, then he's either going to be off the team. Like there's a code of conduct that starts at the top. What I would do is if I was a head coach, is I would send letters to every parent. I would tell them to come in, and I would just tell them very blunt. If your child does not come to practice, if your child is getting in trouble in school, I'm either kicking them off or putting them on the bench. Don't you come to my office trying to tell me about how your kids should start and they can't conduct themselves. I don't want to hear it from none of y'all. Right? So then when the season starts, my son should be on the field. What did I tell you at the beginning of the season?
Yeah.
We had this conversation, ma'am.
You signed a contract.
You signed this contract. Your son's on the bench. I don't give a fuck if he's a 5-star athlete. He will be sitting behind his 5'8" quarterback until he gets his head out of his ass. And most programs don't have that type of integrity.
Yeah.
They're gonna put you could shoot 5 people and rob a bank, and you'll be out on bail, and the coach will still start your ass just so he can win. That's not okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, we veered off a little bit. But what I will say about this situation is it's a very nuanced conversation. I don't know Karen Civil personally, but to have all these negative things tied to you from these people that have real accounts and can prove that you did them dirty.
And she is also seconding some of these ideas. Like, yeah, I did talk to you or such and such, but the story that she's telling is a better version of whatever.
Yeah, she's in the business of fucking you over and then finessing the whole story when it comes out.
Yeah.
The thing about it, dude, is if she is fucking people over, which I believe she probably is, and for Joyner Lucas is rich. Let's be clear. Joyner Lucas could spit on $60,000. He's got a mansion. He's making a lot of fucking money.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Joyner Lucas was emotionally hurt because he was about to have a kid. By the way, that wasn't his $60,000. That was his investors' $60,000.
The last $60,000.
The last, because he said, we invested over $500,000 in you, man. This is it.
That's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money to push your career.
Yeah.
And he said he had a kid on the way and shit was getting tough. He even talked about doing features for people he didn't want to do features with just so he could feed his kid. I remember Joyner Lucas talking about it like I was doing features with artists that I didn't even like.
Just to get the
money.
Bag. Dang.
That's sad, man, and that sucks, you know. And I think that's why he's so hurt, and he has the right to be hurt by this. Like if you, let's say for example, a Trucker's Mind podcast, an agent comes out, hey, me and like 5 of my buddies listen, we want to invest in what you're doing, blah, blah, blah. But in during that meeting or that collaboration in some way, he took advantage of me and Keith in a way, because even if we're cognizant of what we're signing, whatever, there could be small little nuances that we don't catch.
Yeah.
And he's able to take advantage of us. If I see him 20 years down the line, I'm going to be, fuck you. Not like I hate you, but like I don't fuck with you, dude. You took advantage of me at the beginning of my career. Why do I need to be buddies with you? No. And if I do have a story to tell about you, it's not going to be a good one. It's going to be like, hey, I moved on, I'm successful, but that dude there, fuck him.
Yeah.
Don't ever do business with this clown. I'm going to let people know, just like Joyner is.
I think that I was telling you, I think it's important, like as far as like Karen Civil, and she's helped some of our favorite artists in so many ways. But I think it's important for Joyner Lucas and even Cameron and other people to come out and say these stories. And, the whole smear campaign, I don't necessarily like, because, it's just distasteful in a sense. But as far as the information that comes with it, I think that's important to get out there because it's a lot of up and coming artists that are very ignorant, and you know they may have 20. They may be selling a little weed here and there, whatever, and they may have 20,000 to their name, and they're willing to give it to such and such to get their song on the radio, or they're willing to give it to somebody to get their song on a Spotify playlist or whatever the case may be. And that's the last money they got, and they think because this person is helping other people that it's going to work out for them. And sometimes, in the case of Karen Civil and some other people in this industry, they would just pocket that money and not necessarily do anything with it, or they would say they do something with it and not really do that. So I just think it's important for the people that are coming after you to hear these kind of stories, because even for me, like, there were situations where you would see like pay for certain placements on playlists and stuff on Spotify, and there was one guy that he came on Clubhouse and he was giving this rah-rah speech like, yo, if you do this as a musician and you do this as a musician to market yourself, you could do this and you'll be successful. You're like, yo, go to my Instagram page. I got a link in my bio, and I'll put you on this. I'll get you this amount of spins and stuff. And I actually had paid for one of the services, and then weeks and weeks had gone by, and it's obviously it wasn't 60,000, but a similar thing happened as far as like Joyner Lucas. Like I messaged the dude. I messaged him on Instagram. I'm like, hey, I haven't seen any results. I haven't got an email back about my song being placed on this playlist or anything like that. Like, what's the deal? He didn't read the message. And then I eventually had to go through PayPal, because that's how the payment was worked out. I had to go through PayPal and say like, hey, like the service was never fulfilled. And PayPal has a good protection program, right? So you could go through those. But eventually I ended up getting my money back. But I'm just like, yo, if that situation was like Karen Civil, I would have had to wait till like so many years later to actually speak about the situation. And, there would have been 6 or 7 years of people following the same trend, or, I'm sure there was people that even in that situation that came after me and paid him $500, $800 or whatever, thinking that they're going to get 100,000 streams. And when in reality, that dude just pocketing that money and acting like he doing something.
Yeah. With her, it's like getting these artists to pay. It's like it's like the art of misdirection. Like, you get me, I'll get you this and that. This is what I provide. And then it's so many people giving her money. Mm-hmm. It's so many people giving her money that she just devalues people. Like, you have to understand, when a person is willing to pay you money, that means they care enough about their career that they're willing to put some of their last money down.
Yeah, I speak volumes about the person.
Yeah, you don't know what they had to do to get that money. They either had an investor, or maybe they've saved money for the past 6 years, or maybe their girlfriend helped them pay for it, or maybe it was their parents, and you're just taking their fucking money and not giving them anything, and you think it's a joke. Mm-hmm. And he said that after he gave her the $60,000, she posted a tweet says, artists give you a little bit of money and think they should have 24 hours 24-hour access to you. Mm-hmm. And he was like, excuse me, but if I give you $60,000 fucking dollars, I should have access to you. So what am I paying you for? 2 hours of access? Matter of fact, no access? Like, you done lost your goddamn mind.
Yeah, he was saying she wasn't returning his calls. And then she had popped up on vacation, and she finally answered, and she was like screaming on him like he was bothering her. And he was just saying like, yo, you're not even communicating with me what's going on. Like, I'm just trying to figure out what's going on. He said, because he didn't hear from her. Yeah, it's just a sad situation. But the people will show you where or how they value you. It's going to be very apparent.
They're going to show you.
You know what I mean? And even in our personal relationships, you could see. You may help somebody move. That they may hit you up like, dog, you the only person I figured that could help me move or whatever. Like, could you help me move tomorrow? You may help them move, get the whole crib moved out on a truck, unload everything. And then when it comes time for them to do something for you, that energy is not reciprocated at all.
Energy's not there, mm-hmm. It's just like, for example, let's say me and Keith are selling a bunch of merch. The merch is going out. It's a bunch of stuff, but then we're taking a long time and you're never receiving your merch. And we never say anything about it. And then you inbox us and you say, hey, I haven't gotten my hats or my shirts yet. And we just ignore it. We just keep doing podcasts. We just keep taking your money. First of all, we are going to be in such a space where we're tracking everything. And if you haven't gotten it, not only will we mention it on the podcast, but we will mention it on social media. We will post about it. We will be like, hey, we're working on this. We'll give you a step-by-step of what's going on just based on the fact that you cared enough to invest your money into us. We feel like we need to respect your time and respect your investment in us. So when you don't get back to people, you're telling them, hey, I got your money. Fuck you. Just stay over there.
Much, yeah.
I got your money. Fuck you. Like, don't ever take somebody's money without valuing them. If they took time to value your service, if you make hamburgers and they've been coming there for years and you burn the burger up, you don't say, maybe better next time.
Yeah, it is what it is.
What you do is say, hey, how much did you spend here when you bought? Okay, I'm going to give you all your money back and I'm going to give you and your family free food. I'm sorry about the inconvenience. That's how you handle business. If you handle it any other way, prepare to be unsuccessful or prepare for people to have a rebuttal to your fucked up business practices, because they will. And when it happens, don't be surprised. And guess what that is? That is a business killer. You may be successful. You could play with everybody in the world, but you can't play with God. I don't want to get biblical. You could play with everybody in the world. You could lie on social media. You could put out this facade, but you can't play with God. God sees everything you're doing. When you're fucking people over, you're stealing from them, and you're lying to them. You could do it for 12 years. You could do it for 15 years, but your fall will be hard. And that fall is going to be so hard, you're going to be ending up flipping burgers. You're going to go from driving a Bentley to flipping burgers when you don't treat people the right way.
Yeah, man. I think, too, like, we see it all the time. We see guys like Bill Cosby and Harvey Weinstein and all these guys, even though they 80, 70, some years old, like, they still getting their, that their rightful downfall in a sense. And especially with the internet, like, our voices are so much more powerful.
Right.
Joyner Lucas, he wouldn't have had the opportunity maybe, when he first started, or maybe 2008 or whatever, 2009, 2000, like before the internet what is what it is now, he probably wouldn't have had a voice to actually express some of these things. Or he may have said it and it just fell on deaf ears. But I think that in this situation, and I seen afterwards, Joyner Lucas was going on a few more rants about his record label and stuff like that. But I think, this might have been better served in a way where he can actually monetize it. Because I think, getting on Clubhouse and venting, and I think that was good for him. And I think he probably had been holding on to so many feelings over the course of the past 6-7 years, especially when you're seeing Karen Civil. Like, it could be triggering for you when you're seeing Karen Civil at the Nipsey Hussle funeral, knowing she screwed you over, and seeing her on podcasts, seeing her on the Breakfast Club and all these sort of things. You seeing her popping and getting, growing and stuff like that. And you like, dog, she took $60,000 of my money when I didn't really have it.
Yeah.
And, that I think that was triggering for him. But I think that, that was a way where he could have told his story, but still monetized it, like put it in a song or, put it in a freestyle or something like that. And I think it still would have garnered the same conversation, but, he could have like leveraged it a little bit better.
Like, I'll speak of something before we close it out. Where we at, man?
113.
See, we still got over an hour. It's sad. I'm not trying to shit on people, but it's sad how me and Keith, we just trying to do a short podcast and get out of here for the people, but we still end up doing over an hour. It's people that's releasing 20-minute podcasts. You need to be slapped.
They got sitcoms.
If you got 2 people on a podcast and you can only do 20 minutes, you need to get slapped. Anyways,
it'd be 3 people with 30-minute podcasts.
It's like, come on, man. What are you even saying in 30 minutes? But fuck all that. A more mild sense. Let's say, because I've had women treat me like dirt before, right? Or, you have a woman hurt your feelings or whatever the case. And you get older, and it's probably 15, 16 years later. You learn and grow from that situation. I don't have any ill feelings towards the woman. However, if I see you in the present tense, I'm not trying to be your friend. I'm not like, oh, hey, Vanessa, how you doing? How's it going? Mm-hmm. Like the last time I seen you, you treated me bad.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. So that's a more mild version where I may not have any hatred towards the person because I've grown, but I never forgot how you did me. Mm-hmm. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I never forgot how you did me. And in his case, it's the same shit except worse because he got $60K involved.
But even with that, he never had an opportunity to express how he felt.
Oh, right.
So he's literally just holding on to that while he's seeing her out here moving and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And he finally is like, and even in that, I think in one of the tweets, he was like, yo, I didn't realize I felt this way about it still. Mm-hmm. But when I seen her on Clubhouse and when I seen other people talking about it, it just like fired something within me to get on the thing and and express myself.
Yeah.
And he was saying too, like she tried to get on she tried to talk behind the scenes and stuff like that. He's like, no, I don't want to talk to you behind the scenes after you missed all these calls after so many years. It's like I'm gonna get on here and make this I guess a circus out of this situation. The same way in which you try to like diminish me or minimize my whole situation. And even in the conversation, there was no real like apology or anything about it. It was a lot of like, hey, I did this for you. It didn't work out. I did this for you. And sometimes it just doesn't work out for everybody. I knew you were going to be a great rapper. I knew you were going to be successful, but this was 7 years ago and it was $60,000. Like even saying those kind of things, I'm sure that made him even more mad.
Yeah, because $60,000 to the average person is a lot of fucking money.
Especially at the time where you just having a kid on the way, you've put in already $400,000.
The reason why she didn't want to apologize is because that would have been like an admission of guilt, right?
Yeah.
But it was an admission of guilt by what she said subliminally.
I don't think sorry to cut you off. Huh? I don't think she admitted to doing any wrong that whole conversation.
But here's the problem. Here's the admission of guilt. I was getting to that. She's not going to apologize because it would have been an admission of guilt. However, the admission of guilt was, it was only $60,000. So you devalued the money that I gave you, which subliminally is a admission of guilt because you didn't even see it as that much money. What does that tell me about you? That tells me you're a swindler and you're used to doing people like this. Mm-hmm. You know, and it's fucked up. It ain't right, man.
And there's no repercussions because in that case you can say whatever. Because it's like you're just entrusting somebody with some money. There's no real paperwork tied to it because it's a job it's not a service that you can pay. It's not like getting your car fixed.
100%.
You know what I mean? It's a thing where it's like, pay me this and I'm gonna work my magic. I'm gonna make some phone calls. You might open up for Nipsey Hussle, whatever the case may be, but it's not a thing that it's like really you could put like.
But yeah, by the way, a lot of it's not legal. Mm-hmm. Because academics talked about it just before we got
payola with the radio
stuff. The radio stuff. Mm-hmm. It's not legal, but people do
even playlisting. It's not illegal, but you're not. Spotify doesn't allow technically people to pay 100%. To get on playlists and stuff. So.
Right. So yeah, that's another thing. Mm-hmm. What I will say is this in closing is make sure you get everything in writing. And if you can't get a service that's provided for you, if you can't get a service that's provided through some form of paperwork that kind of binds them to doing the work, don't do it. Mm-hmm. Because what's going to happen is you're taking a risk. You're taking the word of a person that you don't even know what their intentions are, right? And you know what? I'm going to reference myself. I'm giving myself, I guess, donkey of the day. Mm-hmm. I just recently tried to get some aesthetics for the podcast. I bought a big sign. It was a big steel sign. This website looked legitimate. They had a website. They had an Instagram page. Everything seemed legitimate. Mm-hmm. And I was wondering when they were going to finally send it. They asked me what type of powder coat I wanted, all kinds of stuff. It ended up being a scam. And when I went to the Better Business Bureau, there was a good amount of people who got conned just like me. Mm-hmm. And I know how it feels to be ripped off. I just moved past it, okay? But, I spent a good amount of money on this. And I said, you know what? I'm going to wash my hands with it. But I need to be a better judge of character because I don't get ripped off because I usually do my due diligence. Mm-hmm. I felt I did now. But I must have missed some shit. And now I got ripped off. Mm-hmm. Okay? So it doesn't feel good. Anytime you've been ripped off, it's just a feeling of helplessness. Like I had my work truck got broken into. They took my speakers and a bunch of other shit out of my truck, and I just sat there like, why? Why would somebody do this to me? And I imagine that feeling is exacerbated when you have put 60,000 hard-earned dollars into your own career and the other person on the opposite end gave you $20 of effort?
And then what makes it even worse is like I was saying, like how she can diminish that in that conversation.
Yeah.
But then like trying to be logical in that situation when the logic is kind of falling flat.
Yes,
She's like, oh, it's only $60,000. I have to pay people right off the bat. I have to pay the guy at the radio $20,000. I have to pay the person on the ground doing the certain work $20,000. I only get to pocket about $15,000 to $20,000 of that, and I have to pay taxes. So she tried to like minimize all of that. When in reality, even if you did pocket, $20,000 to $15,000, you can do some stuff with that.
Oh, you certainly can. Mm-hmm. You certainly can. I'll tell you right now, if somebody gave me and Keith $60,000 to improve the aesthetic and sound and everything of this podcast, my God,
you'll see it.
You'll see 2 new cameras. You'll see fucking all kind of new shit. By the way, with $60K, we'll probably just up and leave and get a whole studio, get another studio. Mm-hmm. So $60,000 for regular people goes a long way. Mm-hmm. But I think we've reached the end of this podcast, man. Let's try to get up out of here. I got to go to work. But if you made it to the end of this podcast, man, we appreciate you. Thank you for listening to a Trucker's Mind podcast. I'm Eddie McGee.
It's your boy K Things.
We're out of here.
Peace.